Let's move on to what? Did you see this news item? Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis System got patented.
Okay.
So
It's a really good system. It's really smart, and they should.
don't
Did you
expect.
play those games?
I checked them out, so I'm familiar with the systems. I put it
I
enough
finished.
hours.
I finished both of them.
I know that you're hardcore.
They are very cool. I like them very much, and I do like the Nemesis system because it's incredibly goofy. And every now and again, in a game you're playing where everything's super serious, it's nice when they throw in that little bit of goofiness to it, and also, and yet at the same time, it has a little bit of weight because now there's this guy that's coming after you.
Sure.
So it's like they did it very well in those games. I would like to see, since they did patent it, I hope that means they're going to implement it in other things.
Like the Batman, the Batman games.
Like the Batman, yes. I see.
I was doing a Batman impression.
I heard, yes.
I'm not
Meanwhile,
wearing hockey pads. I do that to Ty every once in a while. I go, Ty, ask me what the difference is between me and you. He loves it. All right, yeah, that is a cool system. So I guess it's not surprising, but I wonder like what else this was going to lead to. Like I didn't realize that we were patenting systems in video games now.
I guess if it's proprietary and it has a unique unique enough about it where it can be patented, why wouldn't you?
But maybe like did Active Reload get patented? I feel like I remember
what do
that.
Look like?
You know, like not
Albert Einstein.
What am I talking about? Gears of War.
Yep.
I feel like that might have happened, or I'm not sure.
That Albert Einstein reference was a pretty educated deep cut.
Albert Einstein?
He worked at the patent office before.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we've all seen Young Einstein.
I haven't.
What?
I don't know. I don't know why I haven't seen it. There's no nudity in it, that's why.
If you
Meg Ryan's cute.
Documentary, then you'll be good, I think.
Right.
I don't know. Like, this is weird. Like, what other game would be using that Nemesis system, really, though?
It could work in a Batman game.
Definitely.
Maybe
gang,
like
any
someone
gang
is
game.
like a gang member who goes up the ranks. At the end of the game, it could be more bossy. I don't know.
So would this be something to like prevent Immortals from happening in games where like if Zelda had patented some of their gameplay mechanics, that Immortals wouldn't just come through and make the same game?
Maybe.
I guess it really depends on the technology used to make the game, because you can't just say because you can't patent an idea, right? Isn't that? You could trademark an idea, but you have to patent a technology. So there has to be something unique about the technology involved in the Nemesis system in order to patent it. Otherwise, you would just be trademarking it. Right? Am I right? I could be wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like
that sounds like a very high level correct explanation of that. I feel like Nintendo would be taking out a lot of patents.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's because, again, it's about technology, not ideas. So they could have trademarked the dungeon system, I guess. I don't know what exactly. Again, it's what exactly are you trademarking? So
I think they could have found something. I feel like if you showed these in a court of law, that enough people would point at Immortals and go, "No, you can't do that."
unless some sort of trademark wasn't filed, and then it's like then it's free game. Yeah.
I have a trademark on snarky dialogue. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh
Immortals
man,
2.
it's so bad. The dialogue in that game.
It's pretty lousy.
It's not so much the dialogue, it's the voice acting is not very good either.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much, but I get it. I'm not
still,
saying you're wrong.
I'm still working my way through it.
I'm impressed.
It's the type of game that it's just like, oh, I guess I'm gonna do this. Like, it's not totally unenjoyable to just keep playing it. It's like Wombat watching TV.
Ooh.
We're really far into the Big Bang Theory, let me tell you.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
it's exactly. It's the Big Bang Theory of games where it's on, so I'm playing it, I guess.
Hey, D. Diggler in the chat has a good news item for us. You heard that Valve lost this lawsuit about their Steam controller. They have to pay $4 million to this company that had a patent on the buttons on the back that you I don't even remember. I have a Steam controller, but I don't remember configuration. Anyway, the judge ruled that, or jury ruled that they willingly infringed on this other company's patent and have to pay out $4 million. So my question is, like, did they even make money on that controller?
Probably not. I don't think they did.
How many controllers do they have to sell to make $4 million?
Well, it doesn't matter. They just have to pay. I think Valve has the $400, and it's
$4 million.
$4 million.
Yeah, I know, but it seems like that maybe didn't go so
Put it
well.
this way, it probably was less expensive for them to lose this lawsuit and pay out the $4 million
and everything
than
else.
to have had to strike a deal with them to try to, it's or even a wash. I don't think it mattered. Because if the controller was a huge success, let's say the controller was a huge success,
yeah,
and they had to pay this other company a share of whatever it is because they own the patent.
Sure.
Or they could just sidestep it and be like, well, worst case scenario, we may owe them $4 million in a lawsuit. And they're already and they make $4 million every 8 minutes. What the hell do they care?
I don't know.
Exactly. And fine, when you're wealthy, a fine doesn't mean anything. Fines are a penalty for.
Wow, it's getting deep in here. Did you hear that MLB The Show is coming out on Xbox this spring? It's the first PlayStation Studios game to come out on Xbox.
Very nice.
Shanafan writes in and asks, what other games do you think will be coming out to a competitor's platform?
Any that they will lose the license to if they don't do that.
I don't know. Do you see a world where Sony and Xbox make a deal where if they allow Fallout to come out on the next Fallout to come out on the PlayStation platforms, they'll let Spider-Man come out on the Xbox?
You can play Spider-Man and the Avengers on Xbox.
You could play the good Spider-Man game and the Miles Morales cut with everything.
No, it's too old.
Oh, it's too okay. It's too old. That's the reasoning.
The next Spider-Man.
There's
game.
a lot. The next Spider-Man. Yeah, if you were to do a 1-to-1, maybe there's something to talk to.
But I don't think
really.
Sony wants to do that.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for them.
I don't know
the reasoning behind
this. Why does
this
it not
one
make sense for them? I remember when Microsoft bought Bethesda, and everyone's like, "Of course it's going to come out in both." Don't people like to make money? So doesn't Sony like to make money? They would still sell copies on the Xbox.
Yeah, but it's a whole platform.
It's a whole marketing platform and competitive advantage for them.
Right.
So
it's the whole reason to, hey, come play over here. The only reason they're doing this one in particular is because
legally they have to.
They legally have to with the MLB license.
Oh, is that the only sport that or every sport?
That's the only one that Sony was doing a exclusive license game with.
And MLB doesn't allow that anymore, or?
There was an agreement. I don't know the specifics of it, but yeah, it's the gist of MLB wants it to be on other platforms. So, however it was written up into the contracts, I guess it's this time is when it was going to happen. And they knew
great.
They knew this was coming. I mean, I think it's a good move because sure, like they were going to have to give up the license. It's a good MLB game. So it's better that they keep the license and keep making a good MLB game.
Sure.
I can't remember the last time I played a baseball game on a console.
Triple play baseball on Genesis.
Bases loaded? I don't know.
Yeah.
The other big sports news is that EA is coming back with a college football game.
Right.
Yes.
How is that going to work? How is that going to work?
Because they're making deals that's saying you can put the names in, and the students, athletes can get paid as long as they're not getting paid by the school.
But I don't think that's in place yet.
And it's not in place yet. So
I don't think any of it has NCAA on it. Like, there's nothing that says NCAA on the announcements. It just says college football.
Right. They're working that out probably. So.
Yeah, the NCAA is a real peach to work with. I've heard.
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to play a game where I could play as the Pitt Panthers. But
What's the ultimate college team look like? How are they getting their money on this thing?
That's
right.
that is the other thing. It's like, yeah, what is ultimate the cut college ultimate team?
Right. Like, how are you? What trading cards am I buying in this game?
Yeah,
I'm sure
because
they
I'm not
figured that
gonna
out already.
want. I don't want non-Pitt alumni on my Pitt ultimate team.
Buy more packs.
I want Dan Marino and Woodson. And
Do you think they're going? Do you think you're going to have professionals back in this?
I think they'll have alumni teams. I think that was like a hook back in 2004.
How do you get those contracts though? Because they're not. Are they all covered? Do they have to go get the NFL Players Association to do that, or are they?
They it depends, because if it's not for those teams, it could be it could be similar contracts to the contracts they have for Madden. Maybe it's just an addendum to their Madden contract, where it's not just one game now it's 2 games. But I don't know. I want that Curtis Martin, Dan Marino. Oh, it's gonna be a good team. I want to play that team. Larry Fitzgerald.
Nah, I'm good.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to put how they pull this off, because they're going to get sued from some direction no matter how they do it. There's lawsuits coming on this getting written up right now.
Why do you say that?
Because they're going to somehow. You're going to have some level, like, not all of those college players they're going to put in there and pay, right? Like, even if they strike that thing, they're going to pay the top tier or whatever.
Right.
They're not going to pay all the ones. So then the ones that didn't get their pay cut and look enough like,
maybe they'll be sure not to. But that seems like a lot of work. But you just make them random faces, though. Just say like, okay, we had it.
I
know, we did all the faces randomly, and then they can't really have. They don't want to have much of a lawsuit.
But if I'm getting this game, I want to play on a team where I can have Darrelle Revis and Aaron Donald on defense at the same time.
Great.
That would be the reason for me to want to play this game.
Is that a college football game though?
I mean, I guess at that point, I don't know, but it's like, I don't know. I will say my Madden Ultimate Team does have both Woodson and Marino on it.
Yeah, like that's a pro football thing.
I know.
Definitely. Like, it's just getting a little bit weird to have a college football game with actual players. Like, a college football game that's completely devoid of anything is not great either, because everybody wants to have the right stats for their players. So I don't know.
I mean, maybe that's it.
Maybe
it's more about stats and fake names and the right uniforms, but then that's.
You need to go to the glory days back in the 90s where they were just ripping off all these player likenesses. And
nobody could do anything about it.
In all of these games, and they couldn't do anything about it. What a time to be alive.
All right, let's move on to Sony. At Clumsy Spark writes in, he says, Sony's business results showed 4.5 million PlayStation 5 sold last year. Also disclosed they are selling them at a loss, which I guess was assumed, but is now verified.
Okay.
That's
just by volume alone.
Right. That's how they're making profit on volume.
By the size of them.
I mean, it's yeah. I guess the question is how big is the loss, and how long does it take for them to make that up with PS?
See, the loss per weight is not that much. The loss per unit may be high, but by sheer volume, it's just a tiny loss. I don't know. It seems like this is business as usual, right? It's the way it's always business done. So.
Yeah.
The tricky part of it obviously is the pandemic and all the shortages that drive up the time to market and cost on getting components for these, right? Electronic components are not cheap right now, and you have to pay a premium.
How would you know?
How would I know?
I'm kidding.
That's a lot, but don't you think that's a lot of PS5s? It came out in November, December, January. That's it. 2 months. 2 months.
Seems
really.
Like I don't know.
It seems like a lot.
Amount.
It seems like, because I remember back in the day when like they were selling, 100,000, 200,000 a month, first couple months rather.
But this is worldwide though, right? 4.5 million worldwide.
Yeah, but even still, that seems like
it's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing. Now here's the real question: How many Xboxes were sold?
All the ones that they made. How many did they make?
Yeah. How many did they? That's the question.
I don't know.
It's not how many. It's how many they made. I mean, yeah.
Is it 2 million? Is it 1 million? Is it
Is it 4 million?
Is it 80 million?
80 million.
You have some insight on that, right, Cheapy?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Just ratio-wise?
Ratio-wise, it's ridiculously PlayStation 5, like 10 times, like, or something like that, 8 times. I forgot what it was, but it was ridiculous. Yeah, it could be.
I feel like they come up for sale at the same time and they both sell out, but you can never tell how many are up, right? Like
Exactly.
they keep coming in on the same ships because they're all coming from either the same factory or the factory next door.
Right.
All waiting for probably like 90% of the same components. It's interesting to see how.
Yeah, but little kids don't suffer from COVID the way that adults do. So you think that they would still be able to make them?
Oh boy.
I think they're going to be in short supply.
I mean,
for a while
those
now.
7-year-olds can work all day still. They don't even need masks.
Yes, they're supposed to be in short supply for the next few months for sure, at least.
Those SSD drives that they have in there, those are going to be probably the limiting factor on getting these things.
Interesting. Okay. Tight.
A little tight in that market currently, yeah.